Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we take the intricate stack of sources you provide, the research, the notes, the deep cuts, and we try to transform them into clear, actionable knowledge. And today, we are really strapping in for what is, it's just an extraordinary file. It's a narrative that reads like a decade-spanning thriller, except, every single piece of it is rooted in some really meticulous observation and data.
It is. It's really less a file and more a tapestry of chaos and genius. It connects dots across 11 full years.
11 years.
Yeah. Our material today, it spans a traumatic, an unsolved home invasion, and then it just jumps forward into this high-stakes modern kidnapping.
All on the dark web.
All orchestrated entirely through the dark web. And it all culminates in the exposure of this vast political conspiracy, one that's managed by professional fixers.
So our mission today is really to methodically piece together all these fragments, the trauma, the raw technical data, the deeply buried political motives, to really get the full picture, the architecture of this whole pursuit of justice.
And at the center of it all, we have two incredibly compelling people. And at first, they seem completely mismatched.
Right. So first, there's Cami Cortlandt. She's the survivor. She managed to channel this horrific past into building a peaceful, just a beautiful existence, running her butterfly farm, Flutterfly. She is a portrait of resilience, but she also has this almost uncanny observational eye.
And then there's Rex Lowe.
Rex.
And he's not just an ally in this, he's really the engine of the entire operation. Rex is, he's brilliant. He specializes in high-level data analysis, cyber operations for U.S. intelligence.
But he's also carrying this massive weight from his past.
A huge weight, an unjust accusation that is tied directly to Cami's tragedy, and it completely derailed his entire life.
So we're going to unpack these sources to understand that devastating link between the Cortlandt family tragedy from 11 years ago and this sudden high-tech kidnapping that forces Cami and Rex back together.
Right.
Our deep dive is really focused on how their reluctant, brilliant partnership cracked the whole case. And in doing so, took down a powerful, hidden network of political and criminal fixers who, they really thought they were untouchable.
Untouchable is the word for it.
So let's unpack this. We have to start at the beginning, the origin point of all this trauma.
The original crime.
The original crime, 11 years prior.
Yeah.
The sources we have give a terrifying, almost clinical account of Cami's experience that night. She wakes up and she's immobilized.
And the horror begins with this sensory overload. Her body completely fails her. She tries to scream, but the sound is trapped. She can't draw air.
Because there's a tube.
Because there's a thick tube protruding from her mouth, binding her jaw shut.
Wow.
Her initial thought, and this is captured in her own notes, is just pure disorientation. It's, am I dead?
What else would you think?
But that fear, it becomes specific. It becomes this personalized terror when she sees the man responsible. The sources describe him very clearly, a wicked smile on his wolfish face.
And he says one word.
One word that changes everything. He says, posy.
Posy.
And that immediately signals to us, and, eventually to Cami, that this attack wasn't random. It was targeted. The perpetrator had some kind of intimate knowledge of her or her family.
That detail, calling her Posy, it's a pet name, right? It just adds this horrifying layer of violation to it all.
It does. And the terror just gets amplified when she realizes she's not alone in this. Nearby, her mother, Farah, and her younger sister, Elle, are also bound. They're terrified, and they're silent.
We have to talk about the timing of this, the calculation.
Yes. Cami's father, Judge Cortlandt, a very powerful figure. He was away on a judicial trip.
But he's on his way home.
But the sources specify he was on his way home. This just screams that the attackers knew their window of opportunity was closing.
So they'd been watching the family.
They had clearly staked out the family, understood their dynamics, and knew the exact time the judge would be back. This suggests a professional, highly organized operation that's designed to maximize the family's vulnerability.
Okay, so in the face of this absolute nightmare, this is where Cami's capacity for quick thinking really comes through. Her resilience just shines, even when she's tied up.
It really does. Her survival strategy, it's born from desperation, but it's one of the most remarkable parts of these early sources.
Tell us about it.
She's completely bound, but she manages to focus on one small detail. There's a compact mirror on the floor. Maybe it was dropped in the struggle.
And she somehow gets it.
She uses this incredible coordination, this effort to maneuver her body and grasp that mirror Not with her hands.
With her toes.
With her clammy toes. I mean, can you even imagine the precision required for something like that?
It's unbelievable. And her goal was to signal for help?
Right. She aimed that tiny mirror, trying to catch the sun or maybe a streetlight, towards the window of their neighbor, a Mrs. Willoughby. It's just an insane gamble.
Like a MacGyver-level move under the most extreme duress you can imagine.
And at first, she drops it. She's shaking from the strain and the fear.
Yeah.
She doesn't give up. She manages to dry her foot, she secures the mirror again, and she successfully flashes a signal. But she knew that just signaling might not be enough, so she takes the ultimate risk.
She breaks it.
She moves the mirror again, intentionally breaks it, and then uses a jagged shard, carefully maneuvered into her teeth, to begin cutting the thick ropes binding her.
All while the attackers are still in the house.
Yes. This painstaking, agonizing process is happening while the men are downstairs. And the sources give us the sensory input from down there, which really brings home the horror of it.
You can almost smell it.
Yeah. While she's performing this delicate life-or-death work, she can smell marijuana wafting up from downstairs, and she hears the men congratulating each other.
Like it's just a job.
Just a job well done.
Yeah.
They are so confident, so comfortable in their violence that they aren't even worried about being quiet.
But the escape? It doesn't happen in time.
No. The tragedy has already struck. Cami finally frees herself, her hands are bleeding, and she rushes to find her mother. The description is just, it's heartbreakingly sudden, a muffled gunshot from upstairs.
And she finds her.
Cami finds Farah lying on the bed, her chest soaked in blood. This act, this final brutal climax of the home invasion, is what solidified Cami's trauma and became the unresolved nightmare hanging over her life for the next decade.
Which brings us to the immediate aftermath. Because this is where the profound injustice dealt to Rex Lowe really begins.
Yeah. Rex was the quiet, statistically brilliant guy in their high school. He had a crush on Cami, watched her from afar.
He saw her in the hospital.
He did. He described her as mottled with bruises, her right eye red and swollen. He was horrified, but he was also completely outside the official investigation at that point.
And then his life is just catastrophically derailed.
By what seems to be this toxic combination of police tunnel vision and Cami's own acute trauma, in the confusion of this high-profile triple murder investigation, the police were likely just looking for an easy local target.
And they get one. From Cami herself.
Shockingly, yes. The accusation that gave them what they needed came from Cami.
Her statement, which was delivered in a state of shock, was just devastatingly ambiguous. Yeah, I guess. It could have been him. Rex Lowe.
He's just... The sources imply that Cami, overloaded with trauma, may have conflated Rex's quiet demeanor, or maybe just his presence around school with the nameless attacker.
But it doesn't matter, does it? That single, confused, traumatized utterance just sealed Rex's fate.
The consequences were immediate, and they were total. Rex wasn't just temporarily questioned. He was publicly named a person of interest.
And he was a brilliant student.
A stellar math student, ready for college, clear path, had multiple scholarships tied to his American Indian heritage and status.
And all of it gone.
All of it. That money, that security, that future, all of it was immediately rescinded. The schools withdrew their offers, citing the ongoing investigation and the reputation risk of having a person of interest in a triple homicide on their campus.
So he goes from this guaranteed future in applied mathematics to, what, stocking shelves at a grocery store?
That's it. And even after the DNA evidence failed to match him, even after he was officially cleared, the community's suspicion it lingered.
So the bitterness that Rex carried for over a decade, it wasn't just about losing his career path.
No, it was about the profound injustice of his identity, his heritage, his hard work being weaponized and then just erased by an accusation that was born of his crush's tragedy.
That bitterness is so key to his character. It defines the isolation he experienced. It turns him into the deeply guarded, slightly abrasive person Cami meets 11 years later.
And he harbors this resentment not just toward the system, but, implicitly toward Cami, the person whose traumatic memory accidentally destroyed his life.
And Cami, at the same time, was dealing with her own devastating secret in the immediate aftermath.
She discovers she's pregnant.
Yeah. She describes her psychological state as feeling dissociated from her body, which is just, it's a profound statement about trauma response.
It really is, feeling disconnected from your physical reality because that reality had been so violently invaded.
The psychological impact of realizing she was carrying life, a physical remnant of a timeline defined by extreme violation, It must have been overwhelming.
And the response from her high school boyfriend, Hollis Barclay, the golden boy, focused entirely on his Princeton track record. It was just viciously self-serving.
Hollis, he's already thinking about his political future. He cruelly dismisses her pregnancy. He accuses her of lying, of trying to sabotage him.
Or even suggests the baby belongs to one of the attackers, implying that Cami might be mixing things up. This denial is just the final straw for Cami when it comes to any kind of external support.
So that's what solidifies her choice.
The sources are really clear on this, that callousness solidified her choice. She gave birth to her son, Cyrus, and opted for a closed adoption.
And her motivation was selfless.
Completely. She desperately wanted him to have a good life, a stable, media-free life, unburdened by the Cortlandt family's infamy and the dark shadow of the murder.
And for a while, she finds it, that peace.
Years later, running Flutterfly, her peaceful butterfly farm, she finally achieves a fragile peace. But as we know, that peace is about to be utterly shattered.
And that shattering brings us to the present crisis, the terrifying do-over.
Yes, that fragile peace ends precisely 11 years later. Cami receives a communication that is instantly chilling and highly sophisticated.
The delivery itself is meticulous. It's designed to invoke panic and obedience.
It is. The voice is described as distorted, synthetic, like a child's toy. And it poses this bizarre, deeply personal question: would you like a do-over?
Which immediately links it back to the trauma of the past. Yep. It suggests the perpetrators know exactly who they're dealing with.
Exactly. And the evidence they provide is just undeniable. A photo and a live video feed of a boy, Cyrus's age, locked in a bare, barred room.
Minimal provisions.
Just a bedpan and water. And he has Cami's features. The technical control the kidnappers have is immediate, and it's severe.
They lay out the ultimatum: call the police, log in on more than one device, or fail to comply in any way.
And the opportunity will be lost. They threaten to cut the video feed and put innocents at risk. It's a masterclass in psychological manipulation combined with technical control.
Because they know the only lifeline Cami has is that visual evidence they're providing her.
Right.
Which brings Cami to this impossible decision: seeking out Rex Lowe.
She knows he's the only one who could possibly navigate this kind of cyber terror. She finds him at his late grandfather's house, which the sources describe as overgrown and messy, sort of reflecting Rex's own isolated life.
And she comes with a desperate offer, a huge consultation fee.
Which Rex initially takes as a massive insult, a patronizing gesture from the family that, ruined him.
But the situation is just too urgent for old bitterness.
Far too urgent. Rex is a data analyst who previously worked for U.S. intelligence. He is uniquely qualified for a dark web crisis like this, and he immediately identifies the likely platform, Tor, or the onion router.
And we need to pause here because this is so crucial to understanding the threat they're facing. Rex explains that Tor wasn't created by criminals.
No, not at all. It was originally developed by U.S. intelligence agencies to route communication anonymously through multiple layers of encryption. It bounces signals randomly across servers all over the globe.
So it's designed for anonymity.
Exactly, which makes tracing the source almost impossible for standard law enforcement. The kidnappers are leveraging government technology for criminal ends, which is deeply ironic.
And that's why Rex advises Cami so strongly against contacting the authorities.
Right, it's because the kidnappers who are running this sophisticated an operation, they likely have monitoring capabilities. If multiple IP addresses, the police, other family members, logged onto the dark web portal, they would know immediately that the terms were breached.
And they'd cut the feed.
And they would sever the video feed. They can't risk losing that sole piece of information. That video feed, even though it's encrypted, it's their only toehold. If they lose it, they lose Cyrus entirely.
So the strategy becomes one of deep concealment, technical counterespionage, basically, operating completely outside the legal system.
And their investigative breakthrough starts with pure data. Rex quickly confirms the boy's history. His name is Cyrus Sanders.
Right.
And he learns that Cyrus's adoptive parents tragically died in a car crash, which led Cyrus into the foster care system, a detail that just adds another layer of systemic failure to this whole tragedy.
And the adoption agency.
Rex also finds that the agency Cami used, Open Hearts Adoptions, had since been shut down. This raises immediate red flags about the integrity of the whole adoption process itself.
But the breakthrough that truly starts to narrow the search, it comes entirely from Cami.
It does. It proves that her keen observation skills developed at the butterfly farm are her greatest asset. Watching the live video feed, she doesn't just focus on the boy. She focuses on the environmental details she can see outside his small window.
The plants, the animals?
Exactly. She identifies two very specific biological indicators, a Pacific tree frog and a particular type of quail, and she notes their specific habitats and their ranges.
So she starts cross-referencing.
She spends hours cross-referencing this niche biological data with geographical maps, and that allows her to narrow the kidnapping location from, the entire continental U.S. down to a specific corridor, Northern California and the Pacific Northwest.
Because that's where the range of both creatures naturally overlaps.
Precisely. It's an incredible application of niche knowledge.
Rex is impressed.
He is. Rex, the hyper-intelligent former intelligence analyst, is genuinely impressed. He tells her, "The military could use you." And that's really the first time he treats her as a true, valuable partner, not just a traumatized client.
Meanwhile, Cyrus, in the cabin, he's providing his own subtle clues.
He is. We learn he uses a small implement, maybe a spoon or a sharp stone, to scratch the crucial phrase, "Cyrus was here," on the wooden wall.
Which is vital confirmation for them.
It's vital. It confirms for Cami and Rex that the feed is live and that the boy is physically able to communicate. It just reinforces their efforts.
So next they focus on consumer patterns.
Right. Cyrus mentions eating specific fast food. A burger, chili, a baked potato. They spot a partial logo on a fast food bag that's shown briefly in the trash.
And this leads them to a bookstore.
It leads them to the key discovery of Rapid's Booksellers and Gifts, where the kidnapper, whom Rex has dubbed the nose picker, had bought a stack of Spider-Man comics to keep the boy occupied.
And they track down the owner.
Rex tracks down the store owner, a guy named Joel, who confirms the man's rude demeanor, and Joel's daughter, Ginger, provides a seemingly minor but vital detail. The store is relatively new.
Which helps confirm the radius.
Exactly. That detail, combined with flight information Rex gathers later, confirms they are operating within the 20-mile radius that the kidnapper, in a moment of pure arrogance, had boasted about. It validates their entire search methodology.
But narrowing it to 20 miles isn't enough when a life is on the line. They need a pinpoint location.
And this is where Rex makes the final, truly genius breakthrough. It's based on a detail that's almost impossible to see without specialized training. A faint plane contrail visible in the sky outside the cabin window during the live feed.
This is where his background really pays off.
It really does.
Yeah.
He used specialized flight radar data, the kind of data normally used for national security tracking, to isolate the time frame and the trajectory of that plane.
It was a commercial flight.
A commercial Southwest flight heading towards San Jose. And by intersecting that specific calculated flight path with the metadata he had already compiled on local secluded cabin listings in Northern California, he pinpoints the exact coordinates.
So they have it.
They realize the cabin is nestled in a remote area near Carmel Valley. The combination of Cami's keen environmental eye and Rex's specialized data analysis turned a vast, anonymous dark web threat into a physical, traceable reality.
And the time for surveillance is over.
Its time for action is now.
With the location secured, the focus shifts to the rescue. But Cyrus, he proves he's not just a passive victim here.
No, not at all. He had been quietly applying strategies he learned from a mentor, Mr. Abdullah, specifically focusing on lessons from Sun Tzu's The Art of War.
So his whole philosophy was patience.
Patience, waiting for the opponent's moment of vulnerability.
And he applied that patience with, tactical genius. He waited until the kidnapper promised him something specific. Pancakes. A detail that signaled a momentary relaxation of vigilance and a focus on, future reward. This gave Cyrus the psychological advantage he needed.
And while he was waiting for that moment, Cyrus had been meticulously working an object-free,
The bedpost.
a metal bedpost that was slightly loose.
Yeah.
This became his primary improvised weapon. When the moment came, he struck the kidnapper, the nose picker, right in the face.
Causing immediate painful trauma.
Exactly. And allowing Cyrus to bolt into the dense surrounding forest.
The sources then detail this incredibly high-stakes confrontation. Rex arrives at the remote location just as the furious, bloodied gunman has recovered his senses.
And he has Cyrus cornered near a precipitous cliff edge. The gun is raised.
Rex, knowing he couldn't carry a weapon on the plane, has to improvise.
But Cyrus, remembering his Sun Tzu, he realizes his proximity to the ground and the sandy soil. As the gunman advances, Cyrus swoops up handfuls of dirt and just hurls it directly into the man's eyes,
Blinding him.
momentarily blinding him and diving away, and that split second is all Rex needs.
He tackles him.
He tackles the blinded gunman who fires wildly into the air. Rux uses the man's disorientation and his proximity to the edge, and he shoves him over the cliff. The description is brutally swift. A fall, followed by a quiet thwack from the base of the ravine.
The immediate threat is neutralized.
And the arrival of law enforcement confirms the level of organization they're really facing. The dead kidnapper wasn't just some petty criminal.
No, he was hired muscle.
Established hired muscle, well known in Oakland, California, with an extensive rap sheet, recently paroled from San Quentin. This confirmed the organized nature of the crime. They weren't dealing with a lone wolf, but a network.
And this discovery propels them into understanding the deeper political and personal motives behind both the past and the present crimes.
Right. And Cyrus reveals that he had innocently emailed his biological father, Hollis Barkley, who is now running a major political campaign for help at his official campaign address.
Which Rex immediately follows up on.
Immediately. Rex, using his intelligence background, hacks Hollis's campaign website backend. He quickly confirms the worst. Cyrus's desperate email had been opened, read, and then quickly deleted by Hollis or his staff.
Proving that Hollis knew.
Proving that Hollis knew his son was in danger and chose his career over his child's life.
But the motive for the original crime, the 11-year-old crime, is finally revealed. And it's this tangled web of vengeance.
A huge web. Serafina Arnault, Hollis's fiancée, confesses the truth about her family to Cami. Her mother, Glory Jacobson, had hired the fixers years ago for revenge against Judge Cortlandt, Cami's father.
What was the grievance?
The specific grievance was that Judge Cortlandt had released a criminal years prior, who then broke into Glory Jacobson's home, violently destroying her hand and ending her professional career.
So Glory's obsession with revenge, fueled by this feeling that the justice system failed her,
led her to commission the Cortlandt murders 11 years ago using professional fixers.
Then the political maneuvering takes this chilling turn. Serafina confesses that Felicia Barclay, Hollis's mother, the powerful political matriarch, she knew all about Serafina's family history and the fixer organization.
And Felicia, who was obsessed with maintaining Hollis's political viability, saw Serafina as a liability.
So to protect the campaign.
To protect Hollis's campaign from potential scandal or blackmail, or maybe just to remove a potential claimant to the Barclay fortune, Felicia commissioned the present-day kidnapping of Cyrus, her own grandson.
Using the same fixer family.
She used the same fixer family, the Kids organization, as insurance against Serafina. It was a vicious, preemptive political strike designed to neutralize any threat to the Barclay dynasty, regardless of the human cost. It just reveals the chilling ruthlessness of this political class.
The sources then connect all these threads right back to the traumatic beginning. Cami finally understands the 11-year mystery of her mother, Farrah Cortlandt's dying words.
She had always heard them as do of her or do of.
Right.
But given the revelation of the professional fixers and the highly targeted nature of the hit, Rex provides this stunning, definitive analysis that resolves the mystery entirely. Farrah was trying to say, do the fix.
Do the fix. It's a reference to the organization that carried out the hit.
It's concise, professional, and devastating.
It confirms that Farrah, in her final moments, was trying to convey the identity of the murderers, that this was not random violence, but a calculated commission job.
And that phrase irrevocably links the past trauma to the current political conspiracy.
Which leads us deeper into the shadow organization itself, the Kidder family.
Yes. The sources identify them as a firm specializing in lawfare, political dirty tricks, and murder for hire. They operate in that nexus of legality and criminality, using sophisticated means to achieve political and financial outcomes for the ultra-wealthy.
Lawfare is a key term here. For you listening, it means using the legal system itself as a weapon, filing crippling strategic lawsuits to drain resources, bury opponents in discovery, or exploit loopholes. It often complements their more illicit services like murder for hire.
Precisely. And the current leader, Anton Kiss, is described as running a sloppy operation compared to his deceased, more methodical father, a weakness Cami and Rex are capitalizing on, though they don't know it yet.
So our focus shifts entirely to the ultimate insider, the architect of justice, Josephine Kiss.
Or Posey.
Posey, the very name Cami's attacker used 11 years ago. Josephine is Anton's sister, an off-the-charts mathematical savant, but socially impaired, and now a quadriplegic.
And her condition is absolutely central to her motivation. She was injured in an accident that was orchestrated by Anton after she was attacked at his party. It was a clear act of malice and control.
So Anton kept her alive but captive.
Right. Using her brilliance while simultaneously holding her life hostage, He explicitly threatened to send her to a horrific, state-run facility, a fate worse than death for someone of her intellect, if he was ever arrested or his empire was threatened.
So Josephine's survival hinges on Anton's freedom, which makes her decision to partner with Rex an act of extraordinary, calculated defiance.
It is. She sees Cami's case, the failure of Anton's earlier fix 11 years ago, as her ultimate do-over. It's a chance to reclaim her agency and execute a perfect strike against her monstrous brother.
And her communication strategy is just genius.
It really is. She initiates an anonymous partnership with Rex, not through the dark web, but through the back end of Hollis's hastily secured website, the one place she correctly assumed Rex would be operating.
And she gives him two coded phrases.
Two highly coded phrases, Dr. Gerhard Ellingson and Broward Arc Auction.
This is a perfect example of how specialized information is the key currency in this whole thing.
Absolutely. Rex immediately deciphers the tactical plan hidden within these seemingly random details.
So Dr. Ellingson is her spinal specialist.
Right. He's Josephine's spinal cord specialist in the D.C. area, meaning Rex would need to impersonate him to gain access to her high-security room.
And the art auction.
The Broward Art Auction is a high-profile event in London where Anton Kiss sits on the board. This timing is the linchpin. Anton would be out of the country the following day, removing the most direct lethal threat during the window of extraction.
So the rescue and the takedown of Anton were meticulously synchronized. A masterpiece of logistical coordination executed solely by Rex and Josephine.
Yes. Rex poses as Dr. Ellingson, uses a stolen white coat to bypass security protocols, and gains access to Josephine's room.
And Josephine, who communicates using this sophisticated voice device controlled by small movements of her mouth, gives Rex the final command.
Yes, Mr. Lowe, but you'll be required to carry me. It's an instruction that is both deeply personal and highly functional.
And the financial takedown happens at the same time.
Simultaneously. As Rex enters, Josephine initiates a massive, structured transfer of funds. She drains Anton's personal accounts, corporate assets, illicit money streams,
And funnels them into a new, untouchable, foreign corporate entity she created.
using the very mechanisms Anton himself used for his lawfare. This maneuver financially cripples him at the exact moment he's about to be exposed. She essentially removed his operational budget, his ability to hire lawyers, his political influence. She didn't just escape, she initiated the complete financial dissolution of the Kiss enterprise before the authorities even moved in.
We also have to address the final, dark act of vengeance that brings down the political arm of this whole conspiracy.
Serafina Arnault.
Having confessed her role and her mother's motive to Cami, she executes her ultimate revenge against Felicia Barclay.
And it is chillingly calculated. She joins Hollis and his mother Felicia on stage at a massive campaign rally, the ultimate arena for political power,
And in front of live television cameras, Serafina poisons Felicia.
resulting in the shocking live television murder of Hollis's political engine and his mother. Serafina pled guilty immediately, but has been completely silent since, completing her own dark quest for justice.
So the fallout from this multi-layered conspiracy is, it's absolute and it's swift.
It is. Anton Kiss is apprehended while he's abroad, awaiting extradition and trial for a vast array of crimes. His criminal and financial empire is dissolved, thanks entirely to his sister's calculated treachery.
And Hollis Barclay's downfall is equally comprehensive and deeply satisfying from a narrative standpoint.
First, the public spectacle of his mother's murder destroys his credibility and his family narrative. Then, security camera footage, which Rex presumably ensured was backed up, of Hollis angrily dismissing Rex's urgent plea for help,
Calling him an asshole.
calling Rex an asshole, and prioritizing his campaign over his son's life is leaked.
The media just turns on him completely.
The combination of the family murder and the exposure of his monstrous abandonment of Cyrus results in a complete political implosion. He loses the election by a crushing 40 points, weeping through his concession speech. His career is ruined, his reputation permanently tainted by ruthlessness and incompetence.
But the true heart of this whole resolution, it lies in the emotional reconciliation between Cami and Rex. The establishment of their new, hard-earned family unit.
Yes, Rex supports Cami through the subsequent police investigation and the complex legal steps required for Cami to assume temporary custody of Cyrus. The sources note Cami's fierce criticism of the horrific neglect she witnessed in the foster care system that failed her son.
And the mutual respect they forged in the crucible of this investigation, it quickly blossoms into something deeper. For months, they maintain a long-distance relationship, but the distance proves intolerable.
And the emotional climax arrives 3 months later. Cami and Cyrus show up unexpectedly at Rex's empty apartment. Cami, nervous but resolute, finally undresses the bitterness and the future simultaneously.
She just says it, "I love you, and we moved here."
And Rex's reaction is stunned at first, but the sources reveal the silent truth. His actions had already confirmed his commitment. He reveals that he had already quit his high-paying data analyst job and was planning to move back to Aspen Cove to be with them.
Their mutual silent commitment is perfectly summarized by Cyrus.
It is. Cyrus, just observing the scenes, says, "We all were coming for each other, Mom." They prioritized family and purpose over their independent success.
And the future partnership extends beyond just Cami and Rex. The new life they established together in Aspen Cove is founded on their unique skills.
Right. Rex, recognizing the unparalleled genius of Josephine Kiss, extends an offer to her.
He invites her to work with him and his intelligence friends in a new, fully legitimate data analysis firm based in Virginia. This is her true freedom.
It is. Josephine, finally free from Anton's control and able to use her staggering intellect constructively, views this opportunity as finding a new way for more dancing, a metaphor for the beautiful, complex mathematical patterns she can finally pursue without fear.
So when we step back from all these sources, the overarching takeaway is profound. Specialization, resilience, and knowledge were the ultimate weapons against an enemy that wielded power, money, and political influence.
It's true. Cami's keen biological observations, Rex's highly specialized training in counterintelligence data analysis, and Josephine's unique mathematical genius were the specific tools necessary to dismantle a conspiracy that was immune to conventional law enforcement.
It's also a remarkable testament to emotional growth. Rex overcame a decade of profound bitterness and justified injustice to find love and family. He finally achieved the sense of purpose that was stolen from him all those years ago.
And Cami turned her trauma into resilience, building Flutterfly as a symbol of hope and ultimately choosing love and purpose. She decisively broke the cycle of vengeance perpetuated by the likes of Felicia Barclay and Glory Jacobson.
But the material leaves us with a truly thought-provoking final question.
It does. Consider this deep failure. Justice for the Cortlandt family and the rescue of Cyrus could only be achieved through the calculated anonymous interference of an ally who was a victim and a key figure inside the criminal enterprise itself, Josephine Kiss.
Yeah.
So what does it fundamentally mean about the state of our systems and political corruption when the police, the courts, and political oversight mechanisms fail so completely that the only viable path to justice is relying on a brilliant, compromised mole seeking her own survival and her own do-over? That is the true weight of this deep dive.
A heavy but absolutely vital question to leave with you. Thank you for sharing your sources and letting us dive into this extraordinary story of resilience and calculation.